Hi everybody, this is Shawna Odette from the Flying Cat Academy. Welcome to lesson number 9. This will be a review lesson. Let's set up the table. We'll begin with the sight word study method top 160 sheet and the instruction sheet. You'll need the card pack on which the student is currently working, some blank cards, a highlighter, some markers, and some pencils for the student. Moving on to the short vowel drill, you'll need the teacher instruction sheet and the keyword pictures with the keyword sentence as well. For the phonemic awareness drill, you'll need the instruction sheet and the tiles. For the visual and auditory drill, you'll need the instruction sheet and the card pack. Then for the blending drill, you'll need the paper letter tiles arranged in advance. Then we'll have the magnetic letter tile drills for reading and spelling, which require the cookie sheet with the magnetic letter tiles in a rainbow shape. You'll have the syllable pounding sheet and the introduction of a new grapheme phoneme discovery sheet, but we won't use those today. And in addition, you'll have the sheets for this lesson, plus the yes/no sort. It's time for the sight word study method. Student, take out your card pack, and I would like you to read every word in the card pack. When you're finished, all the words that you read correctly will get a check mark on their card. Then give the card pack to your teacher. Now it's the teacher's turn to read, and you get a chance to write down each word. Afterwards, your teacher will show you each card so you have a chance to check, and if you wrote the word correctly, you'll give yourself a check mark on the other side of the card. Afterwards, talk with your teacher about any of the words that you believe are mastered. If they're mastered, they can leave the card pack, and that will give you space for a new sight word. Teacher, just keep an eye on the time, and you can decide if there's time to introduce a new sight word if one's needed. It's time for the short vowel drill. You're an expert at this by now, I'm sure. So you'll take 2 fingers and you'll trace, and you'll say apple, ah. Do that for all the keywords, and give me 5 for each. So apple, ah, apple, ah. Like do it 5 times. Move on to Eddie, itchy, olive, and up. And then you have a chance to say your keyword sentence. Remember to stretch out those vowel sounds. We'll move on to phonemic awareness. For this drill, student, you are going to need your colored tiles. I'm going to say your word is hut. Can you repeat that word? And teacher, as we do this drill, just pause me as needed. Now I want you to build the word hut with your tiles. Do that now. Okay, I want you to tap each tile and say the sound that it makes, and then underline it and say the whole word. Did you say hut? If you did, good job. Now, tap until you find the in hut. And I would like you to change the to ah. What's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you say hot? That's right. Okay, for your next one, I would like you to find the h in hot. Change the h into a v. What's your new word? Tap it and say it. It'll be a nonsense word. Did you get vot? If you did, good job. Now find the ah in vot. I would like you to change the ah into eh. What's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you get vet? That's right. Find the v in vet. I would like you to change the v to a b. What's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you get bet? If you did, great job. That's all we'll do for now, so you can put your tiles away. It's time for the visual drill. Because so many students are doing these lessons, we're all at different points by this stage, and some people might have mastered this letter and sound. So teachers, you'll use your card pack that you have for your individual student for this drill. And the way you do it is you ask the student to name the symbol and tell you the sound it makes. If the student already knows the names for the symbols, so if they've mastered that this is N, then they can simply say the sound for that one. Do about 6 to 8 of the cards and then come back to me. We'll move on to the auditory drill. And teacher, once again, you're going to use the same card pack that you use for the visual drill. And this is where the teacher holds the cards close to heart so the student can't see them. And the teacher says, your sound is, and if I was using the card here, I'd say B. And the student would repeat that sound. And then I would say, what symbol goes with B? I'd like you to write down the symbol and then underline it and say the sound again. And teacher, it's really important for us to say the sounds correctly. So if you go to my blog on the flyingcat.com website, there is one entry entitled How to Say the Consonant Sounds. And this is just a good review for everybody. A lot of us, me included, when I'm just speaking, sometimes I add the sound unintentionally. So we have to be really careful to ourselves take off that sound, but also teach the student to remove the to sounds where it would be incorrect to have it there. Yeah, so do once again 6 to 8 cards and then come back to me. Let's do the blending drill. This is the one that uses the paper letter tiles. Your teacher has them all in the right order and they're on the table ready for you. And teacher, you will remove the paper tiles one by one, and the student will tap and then say the word. Tap each sound out and say it. We'll move into the review section now. We've been talking about the concept of a syllable. What is a syllable? And we've got some hand gestures to help us. So it starts off like this. Can you say it with me? A syllable is a word, and the hands means that's a whole word, or part of a word with one vowel pattern. Let's say it again. A syllable is a word or part of a word with one vowel pattern. Let's see if we can apply that. Is this one a syllable? Well, you look at it and you say, is it a word? No word that I know. Is it part of a word? Doesn't look like it. Does it have a vowel pattern? Oh, no, it doesn't. It can't be a syllable. Let's try this one. Is it a syllable? And you would say, oh, well, that's a word I recognize. Sip, sip. It also has a vowel pattern, so you know that it's got 2 parts of the definition going on. So that is definitely a syllable. And then we've been talking about the closed syllable. Is this one a closed syllable? Well, to find out, let's think about the definition of a closed syllable. So a closed syllable has, do you remember how many vowels it has? It has 1. And there's 1 vowel here. And that's going to be closed in by a consonant. So is this word fitting the definition? Does it have 1 vowel that's closed in by 1 or more consonants? Yeah, it's got 1 at the end. So that is a closed syllable. Once we know that it's a closed syllable, we know how to read the word, because closed syllables are the ones that have those short vowel sounds. Apple, Eddie, itchy, olive, up. So this would be the I as in itchy. And that's why this word says sip, sip. Could you take out your sheet about all the different syllable types now? Did you know that there's 7 different syllable types? And if we understand the different syllable types, it really helps us to read and write with ease. Spelling is not a bunch of random words that don't make sense, that we'd have to memorize them all. No, if we understand the syllable types, then we have a way to get to the reading, how to read these words and how to spell these words. And you realize that it actually does make a lot of sense. It tells us how to read the vowels in most cases. So we were talking about this type, and this is the one that we're working on right now. This is the closed syllable. Can you explain to your teacher why this one is a closed syllable? And you can tell the little story about the babysitter. if you want to explain it. Do that now and then come back to me. Okay, and what happens if the babysitter decides to go away? He gets a cell phone call and he's going to talk to his girlfriend, and the A is getting so upset. A starts screaming for his mummy. A is over here, mummy, mummy, A needs your help, A. So that would be S-A. That is an open syllable because it's not closed in by the consonant. So when the consonant babysitter's there, the A is nice and happy, and he says his ah sound, sal. But if the babysitter goes away, we've got a different syllable type, the open syllable. In open syllables, we have one vowel, and it's going to say its name, A, say. But what happens if I've got a babysitter, but I want the A to say his name? We have to have a new syllable type. We have to have a way to force the A to say its name. This is going to be a new syllable type called the vowel, for the A's vowel, consonant, silent E. So let's just say the E comes to the window and the babysitter's sleeping in there. He's not a very good babysitter, is he? And the E peeks in the window. Psst, psst, A, are you in there? Are you in there? A, say your name if you're in there. And A says, A is in here. So that word is sail, and the E just sits silently at the end. And that's the third type. We have a lot of words where the vowels are saying their names, and so we have another syllable type, a different way that forced that A to say its name. So if we wanted a different way to force the A in this one to say its name, we could do a different syllable type that involves two vowels together. And so this one is two vowels go walking, and the first one does the talking. So the second one's just going to sit there silently just to support the first one. So it'll say A, and the I will say nothing. This is called a vowel team. Sail. See how that worked? So now we've got two ways to force the vowel to say its name. This is a sale, like a sale. I went to buy a shirt on sale. And then there's another syllable type. You're getting the idea there's a lot of syllable types here, aren't you? This is a case where we have two vowels that are going together and they're going to make a brand new sound instead of being a vowel team. They make an unexpected sound. So here's a case. Y is at the end of a word, so it's not being a consonant because we know that when Y is at the front, it's a consonant, y. So it makes a different sound when it's at the end, but here the O and the Y are acting as vowels and they're side by side. And instead of making the O sound like a vowel team would, it's going to make a new sound, oi. So this word is soy. Sometimes I refer to this as a vowel weirdo, but the correct term would be vowel diphthong. You have got a lot of different syllable types that you're talking about now, right? There is another one. And this one is called the R-controlled vowel. And the R-controlled vowel looks a lot like a syllable type that we're working on. So if you didn't read that word, what would you guess that syllable type would be if I hadn't told you it was R-controlled? It has one vowel, and it's followed by one or more consonants. In this case, there's two consonants at the end, closing it in. So it looks like a closed syllable, doesn't it? This is a syllable type that we created because we have this rule with the closed syllable that they're going to say apple, Eddie, itchy, olive, or up. But when you put an R after a vowel, it's very, very difficult, I'd say impossible, to say the vowel sound correctly. R is a really tricky sound. It requires us to raise the very back of our tongue up, and then the front of our tongue becomes, I call it taco tongue. And so that's a lot of craziness. And if you try and say a vowel sound and then try to make the R sound, it's really difficult. So this would, if we tried to do it, we could say art. That's very difficult. So we just messed around and we say that the R controls the vowel because it makes unexpected sounds that are not proper closed syllable sounds. This word is sort. So when OR is together, it makes OR. And there's different, it'll be a different sound if it's E or a different sound if it's A. So we call this R controlled, and It operates in the same way as a closed syllable when we're coming to spelling rules, but when we're speaking, that's where it gives us trouble. And then there's one other syllable type, and it's called the consonant LE syllable type. And that is the only syllable type that can't exist on its own. It can't be, there's no words that are one syllable words that are consonant LE. You have to have a different syllable type plus the consonant LE. So you could have candle, and consonant LE is DLE on candle. Yeah, so that's just a quick overview of the 7 syllable types, knowing that we are focusing on the closed syllable. But eventually, you will be a master of all 7 syllable types. Right now, you're going to complete a card sort. The card sort is about which one is a closed syllable. If it's yes, it is a closed syllable, you put it in the yes pile. And if the word is not a closed syllable, put it in the no pile. You'll see that there's lots of different syllable types that are being used in this drill. But you don't have to read any of the words. You're just looking for closed syllables. So apply the rules of a closed syllable. Is there one vowel followed by one or more consonants? If it is, you got a closed syllable and you can put it under the yes pile. Do the drill now and then come back to me. It's time for the magnetic letter tile drill. So take out your cookie sheet with your letter tiles all arranged in a nice rainbow shape. And I'm going to tell you, your first sound is P. Can you repeat that sound? P. Now find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. The next sound is Ah. Can you repeat that sound? Now find the correct tile for Ah and pull it to the middle. Your last sound is T. Can you repeat that sound? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Now that you've got all your tiles there, I want you to tap and say the sound of each tile, and then underline it and say the whole word. Did you get pat? If you did, great job. Put your tiles back, and then we'll try a new word. Let's see. Your sound is Can you repeat that sound? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. The next sound is Aw. Can you repeat that sound? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. The last sound is T. Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Now tap and say the sounds of each tile, and then underline it and say the whole word. Did you get rot? If you did, great job. Okay, teacher, if there's time permitting, you can do a third word, and if not, then let's just carry on. We're in the reading section now, and it's time for the individual word list. So take out the chart with the 2 columns, and the student can read down the words. And when you're finished, move on to the connected text. That's the story. When you're finished all that, we'll go into writing. Let's do the magnetic letter tile drill for spelling. So grab your tile and your cookie sheet. And I'm going to tell you that your word is yet. Can you repeat that word? Yet. I have not gone for a run today yet. Can you make a sentence with the word yet in it? Okay. What is the first sound that you hear in the word yet? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What is the second sound that you hear in the word yet? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. And what is the last sound that you hear in the word yet? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. And then just tap it and say it. Did you get Y-E-T? If you did, good job. Put those tiles back and we'll work on a second word. Your word is mob. Can you repeat that word? Now, can you use it in a sentence? I might say, there was a mob outside the store because a sale was about to open. A mob is a crowd of people. Can you make a sentence with the word mob in it? Okay, now what's the first sound that you hear in the word mob? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the second sound that you hear in the word mob? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. And what's the last sound that you hear in the word mob? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Then you can tap it and say it. And did you get M-O-B? If you did, good job. All right, it's time to write some single words. So you're going to need a lined paper and your pencil. And we'll start off by tapping. And we'll tap the word, then we'll grab it in the air and pull it across and say the whole word, and then we'll write it down. So your word is bag. Can you tap out the word bag? As you tap, you say the sounds, then you grab the whole word and pull it across, and then you can write down the word with your pencil. Teacher, you can check the word after. Your second word is den. Can you repeat that word? Can you use den in a sentence? The fox was in his den, maybe? For this one, we're going to trace the actual symbol. So we'll trace the first letter, the second letter, and the third letter, and we'll say the sounds as we do it. And then after we do that, we'll just grab the whole word and pull it across, and then we'll write it down. Teacher, you can check the work. Okay, and teacher, you can check the time right now, and if you think there's time to do some more words, you can have the student choose whether they want to tap or trace the word, and then write it down. And when you're finished, we'll move on to the sentences. There are 3 sentences, and you have a choice. You can write 2. So teacher, I want you to read all 3 sentences to the student, and then the student can choose which one they would like to work on. And the student will write down the sentence after, so you'll say it. The student will repeat the sentence to make sure they've heard it correctly. And then the student will write down the sentence, and together you can use chops to check the work. Do that for both sentences that the student chooses. And then come back to me. So we're almost done. There's time for a quick review and then a goodbye. We were talking about what it is to be a syllable. Let's do our hand gestures. Do you remember? A syllable is a word or part of a word with one vowel pattern. Let's do it one more time. A syllable is a word or part of a word with one vowel pattern. And then what does it mean to be a closed syllable? So student, can you write down a closed syllable right now and explain to your teacher why it is a closed syllable? When you finish that, the lesson will be finished, so I will say goodbye. This is Shawna Odette from the Flying Cat Academy. See you next time.